Salon. Alright, so the reason why we call this video the Come Get Your Cat Groom is this was a salon reject uh, from a certain large corporation that offers cat grooming, which, you know, if you know anything about that particular organization, well, there's two of them. None of them have any actual qualified trained cat groomers yet. That doesn't stop them from advertising the service, right? Now, not really sure how far they got with her grooming before they just stopped and called the owner and said, come get your cat, right? And usually that's the end of it. And then these groomers pretty much never want to see you or your cat again. They do something like that. Or, here's the worst part, they say under no circumstance are you to ever have your cat groomed here again, and your only option is to have your cat sedate groomed. And this is coming from a groomer with absolutely no training in cat grooming telling you this, and you as a cat mom believe them. Please don't listen to anything that comes out of their mouth regarding cat grooming. When you bring you naturally assume when people are advertising services that they actually, know what they're doing. No. No, none of these corporate organizations that offer cat grooming, none of them have any actual qualified training for cat grooming. And any employee from those companies would be able to tell you and verify that. Right? Basically, the wool is being pulled over your eyes as the public regarding, cat grooming. So, what is this cat capable of? Not really sure yet. Not really sure. She is hissing, right? She didn't like her sanitary clip being done. But we haven't utilized all of our tricks. We have happy putties, we have sound therapy, we have so many different things to help get a cat groomed, depending on their personality, right? So let's just see how far we can take this groom for this cat. Okay, we'll see. Chances are I'm gonna have to bring her into the sound box. We'll see. Can anyone guess what haircut I'm putting her in? Anyone want to take a guess? Shouldn't be too hard to figure out, right? My highly anticipated blue wave is here. Yay! Didn't think this was going to come until tomorrow. So this is a real treat. This is a really nice clipper for cats. It's for dog grooming too, right? Waka waka. They call it the blue wave, but it comes in yellow, blue, and purple. Waka 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 waka. She's being very reactive right now. getting ready to put her in the sound box. Alright, so that's probably where the groomer stopped at the other grooming salon and said, nope, come get your cat. So we're going to use sound therapy, which means she's going in a dryer box called the Caddyshack Vac. Hi. 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 Alright. Alright, here we go. We're inside the Caddyshack Vac. Alright, I'm going to put the sound on. It's a really annoying sound. So, not the best for your viewing pleasure, but it helps the cat. It actually will hopefully stop her from escalating, right? And it'll neutralize her irritability, in theory. Alright? We're going to give her about 5 minutes of that before we try to get started again. about 5 minutes, right? We'll see if we can even give her a bath. Alright, that sound is going to stay on because it's helping to keep her from going 2 levels too high, right? Yeah, that noise, that sound that you hear, it's not for your viewing pleasure, it's for the cat. did it. I did it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You're a big girl. You're a big girl now. Did you scare the other groomers at the other salon? Did you make them think you were gonna do something? She's like, yeah. She's like, it was too easy. I bet. Alright. For some cats, all they gotta do is hiss once, and then the groomer's like, nope. They're like, come get your cat. Alright. It's like rolling the dice with cat grooming with a lot of these groomers who have no training. And they just roll the dice and hope that, you know, they'll be able to get the cat groomed, right? Wow. I used to follow one dog groomer for a year. I followed that groomer for a year. He was even on the NCGI map saying that they were cat groomers. Every single cat that showed up in his salon, he came up with an excuse or a reason why the cat couldn't get groomed and sent the cat home, right? In the course of a year, right? Finally, there was one straw that broke the camel's back, and I was done. I was done supporting him, I was done following him, and I'm like, I'm done. And it told me everything that I needed to know regarding what he was doing, right? See ya. He messed with a pure white Maine Coon cat is what happened. And I'm very partial to pure white Maine Coon cats. So he messed with the wrong cat, and that's when I was like, I'm done, right? And then obviously the cat never got, you know, groomed. It wasn't just that the cat didn't get groomed. It was the fact that he was insinuating that there was something wrong with the cat or that the cat was crazy. No, the only thing crazy was you advertising cat grooming services when you aren't a cat groomer. That's what's crazy, right? There's nothing wrong with the cat. You just got intimidated because it was a really big one, right? A lot of people get intimidated by the size of like the Maine Coon cats. They get intimidated and scared. You need it. Alright, let's see what happens if we turn this on. Turn it on. We'll point it away from the cat at first and then kind of bring it back to her. Let's just see what happens. Alright, no reaction. We'll point it slowly towards her. Yep. About 90% of cats are not going to be afraid of that do-it-yourself dryer. Whoa, 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 whoa. Waka waka. How you doing? She's like, I'm okay. I got this. You got this? Alright, so this is the Come Get Me cat. This was the cat salon reject. She scared the other groomers at another salon and they said to the owners, come get your cat. That's this little girl. She scared them. Didn't you? She's like, it was too easy. treats. We get cheer. Well, that's good. Waka waka. You need it. Look at your eyes. Her eyes are gorgeous. Alright, let's see if we can blow her beaks out. This may or may not happen. Wham. Ready? She's like, for what? you like that. Alright. Over here. All Hey, she did. What the freak just happened? What 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 just happened? Girl. Girl. You did it. She's like, I did. What did I do? You got a bath? Yeah. You got a bath? You got a haircut? You want me to finish you up? You want it? Good girl. That was pretty awesome. That was pretty awesome, little girl. She's like, it was? Yeah. Alright. Let's put her back in the sound box. The sound is what allowed us to continue with her grooming, so we're going to put her back in there. Come on, let's go. Alright, we're going to put it back in that Caddyshack bag. That's a drying cat dryer for cats, but it's also a second working station for as well. And then what I'm doing is utilizing the sound frequency and vibration that it makes. And what that does is it neutralizes the cat from escalating. Any irritable cat, like here, when we first tried grooming her, she started spitting and swatting and blah, right? We gave her 5 minutes of the sound, and then she settled right into us being able to put her into the beginnings of a dragon cut. The owner wanted a dragon cut, but she didn't think she'd be able to because, you know, that's the come get me cut, which was kicked out of another salon, right? So, you know, we're gonna try, and I think she'll let me, right? I think she'll let me. I think she's doing okay. She could certainly benefit from some over-the-counter calming CBD cat oil drops, right? Take the edge off of her, right? Social and Happy Garden are two of the companies that we recommend, and we recommend that you get the bottle, right? Don't go to the pet store, even though they've had it for 6 years. It's a very cheap, watered-down version. So, put it this way: if you went to pet, you know, one of the big chains and bought a bottle, the entire dropper is only 2 milligrams, right? The entire dropper. If you were to buy for the same price a bottle of Social or Happy Garden, Social is 25 milligrams for the whole dropper, and Happy Garden is 20 milligrams for the whole dropper. And then if you're looking to figure out, well, what's going to be my cat's therapeutic dose for a stressful event like getting your cat in the carrier, going to the vet, or to a groomer, all you do is add mg after their weight. So if she's 10 pounds, then you would start at 10 milligrams, right? How do you get to 10 milligrams? Well, if it's Happy Garden, it's a half a dropper. It's that simple, right? And that's the starting point. She may require more because the therapeutic dose is going to be different for every cat. There is no one size fits all when it comes to cats. But to get you to the starting point of where to start, you just add mg after their weight, right? did it. So as soon as you turn the sound off on a cat who's using it to help keep them from getting irritable, she's already irritable, but it stops her from escalating, right? The minute you turn the sound off, the cat will usually revert back instantly. So you have to be sure that you're completely done with the cat before you turn that sound off, right? So I turned it off thinking, oh, what more is there to do? And then I forgot we gotta do our mane. So there might be a little bit of dampness under there, but let's just take that off. So there. All right, so apparently this little girl scared the previous cat groomer shitless. And so they called the owner and said, come get your cat, right? Talked her into sedate grooming, right? She's like, I don't think so, right? Called me, and we're showing you live what or how we would groom this particular cat. Who knows? Maybe the groomer who tried to groom her will come across this video. And maybe it'll dawn on that groomer, hey, if I'm going to be advertising cat grooming, maybe one, I should get a Caddyshack bag, and maybe two, I should get some training. Yeah, okay. Maybe the shoe will drop, right? So, anywho, there you have it. Here's the come get your cat. Yeah. Owner wanted the dragon, but she thought, like, there's no way her cat would be able to be put in one because of her history, right? But we did it. She wanted to give her a lion tail, and I know that just wouldn't be a good idea for her. I'm gonna keep the tail for now and just tell the owner, just let her have her tail for now, right? And we'll just go from there, right? Anyway, thank you so much for joining. I don't have any sound today. I don't know how to fix the sound, and I'm not a tech guy, so I have to wait for my tech guy to come before I can get the sound back for, you know, interactive lives, which we do offer. Just at the moment, we don't have it available. So, but if you do subscribe to the channel, you will be able to interact with the text-to-speech feature that we do offer. And yeah, so we're going to sign off, and we're going to immediately post this to our account in full. So for anyone who missed part of it, you'll be able to go back and go from start to finish. You're going to be able to see exactly how she was in the beginning and what may have caused the previous groomers to become fearful. The irony is the cat's fearful, but through whatever she did, she caused the groomers to be fearful, right? That's the irony in all of this, right? A trained cat groomer is not going to be fearful of a cat. They're going to be able to analyze, and they're going to be able to break down exactly what's happening, and they're going to be able to know what technique to pull from their bag of, you know, grooming techniques that is going to suit that particular cat, right? It's a bag filled with techniques, right? That comes from training and experience, right? So a groomer who's advertising cat grooming with no training, they're usually working from a bag of excuses as to why your cat can't get done. Do you know how many times I've jumped onto a live of a groomer doing a cat, only for that cat to be sent home unfinished every single time? It just happens over and over and over again. Why? Because they're working from a bag of excuses as to why the cat can't get done. And it's always the cat's fault. It's not the fact that they have no training. It's the cat's fault. No, it's not. Right? So, but unfortunately, the shoe doesn't always drop with a lot of these groomers. And then these groomers come from a place of oh, I don't know, they may have a salon filled with certificates, filled with photos, filled with ribbons. Yeah, they're a damn good dog groomer, right? And that is what fools the cat owners into thinking that they know what they're doing with cats, right? And they don't. They are falsely advertising and misrepresenting their services when they advertise cat grooming with no training, because there is a high percentage of cats that will not get groomed, and then they turn around and blame the cat. And I cannot tell you how many thousands of cat owners who were probably told by one of these groomers that the only way that your cat can get groomed is through a sedate grooming. That is the norm. That is the MO of what they will do, right? And unfortunately, a lot of cat owners believe them. Do not believe or take the word of an untrained dog groomer telling you why your cat can't get groomed. Get a second opinion. Go to a trained cat groomer, right? Just saying, right? I don't know why. you know, the correct response would be, I'm sorry, but I can't get your cat groomed or finished in the way that you want me to, because I don't have enough experience or training to know how to do that, would be the correct response. But that's not what's happening. They're blaming the cat, making you feel like a second class citizen, and in some cases, blaming you for the behavior of your cat. Oh, yeah, great. Not the thousands of years of DNA causing a cat to, you know, react a certain way by design, because that's how cats are, right? By design, the ultimate survivalist, the ultimate being on this planet, in my opinion, right? Highly specialized ability to survive anything that comes their way, right? So if we could be a little bit more honest in the pet industry, that would be a wonderful thing. But a lot of people are having the wool pulled over their eyes regarding cat grooming, and not it's not honest, and it's not correct. And you need to understand, if you did bring your cat to a groomer, you also need to understand why that cat couldn't be finished. And it probably has nothing to do with your cat and everything to do with the fact that you are taking your cat to a groomer or a company who is falsely misrepresenting the services that they can provide, which in a lot of cases can quite easily turn into a tort lawsuit, right? If that cat gets hurt. Tort lawsuit, meaning you said you could do something, you made a contract with that owner by taking that appointment, advertising that you could groom cats, right? And then that cat ends up, you know, getting hurt. That's a tort lawsuit, people, right? $250 is what it costs to claim small claims in this area. Well, what if the grooming only costs $150? That means that you have to pay out of your own pocket an extra $100 just to take that groomer to court, right? The judge could rule in your favor. You get your $150 back for what that groomer took from you, because a lot of groomers will take your money in full despite the fact that they can't finish the groom, right? Not all of them, but a lot of them do that. And then it ends up costing you money, right, to take that groomer to court. Well, what if you did take that cat to a groomer, and 3 days later your cat is dead? Because sometimes, if it's not the stress or the impact of the grooming that kills them at the salon, it's 1 to 2 days, and then they're dead. And then it costs you $1,200 to try to save your cat's life. And then you have to find on the medical report, this is a true story that happened only 2 weeks ago, that your cat was suffering from internal bleeding. Internal bleeding 3 days after a grooming. And then the doctor questioned why there were cuts all over the cat on the outside, right? Why is your cat so cut up? There shouldn't be any cuts. The reason why there's cuts is because the untrained groomer doesn't understand what tools to use. What are the safety clippers? What are the clippers that are going to be safe for cats, right? No, they are always going to blame the cat. It's never the finger pointing to them and blaming themselves. Of course, they're not going to blame themselves, right? So I am encouraging the owner to file to get her medical paid $1,200 to try to save that cat, and also possibly to get the money back from the grooming, because yeah, she was charged for a grooming. The cat was covered in cuts. It was a hack job, and she had to give that groomer $150. The cat is dead 3 days later. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, we're going to go. We'll be back. We're going to post this onto our accounts for anyone who wants to see how she was when she first started her grooming. And so you'll be able to see maybe some of the tricks she was up to that would have scared the other groomers who saw what she did and then just immediately called the owner and said, come get your cat, because they were scared to death of her, right? Yeah. She scared them, didn't you? She's like, yeah, it was too easy. Yeah, I know you did. She's like, that was fun. I used to have a German Shepherd who loved to scare people. She got a kick out of it. But the minute you called her out on it, she'd run the other way with her tail between her legs. It was just a game to her. It was just a game. Anyway, all the best. We'll be back. Thanks for joining. Bye.